Civic Forum on Whispers 87.7 FM. My name is Uche Noble. A pleasure to have you join us this lovely morning. Today's discussion focuses on one of the most significant constitutional reforms currently before the National Assembly. That's the proposed establishment of state police. The House of Representatives has adopted the executive bill seeking to establish state policing in Nigeria, a move supporters describe as a long overdue in tackling insecurity. However, the speed the speed to which this bill was adopted raises a lot of concern. Critics are asking whether lawmakers have exercised sufficient independence in reviewing the proposal or whether they simply aligned with the executive. And we'll be having this conversation this morning. To help us unpack this, we have in the studio Mr. Jake Epelle, founder and chief executive officer of TAF Africa. He is a renowned human rights advocate, policy development expert, election observer, and a public affairs analyst. Jake has also served as several national African and United Nations committees, contributing significantly to governance, disability inclusion, democratic accountability, and human rights. Mr. Epelle, welcome to the Civic Forum.
Thank you, Uche. Only one person
Only
with
you.
all that title.
Only you.
Good morning, listener.
Good morning. Welcome. We're happy to have you join us. It's been a while.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. You're looking as beautiful as ever.
Thank you so much. So, the House of Representatives adopted the executive's version of the state police bill relatively quickly. Does this raise concern about legislative independence, or is this simply an example of effective collaboration between the executive and the legislative?
Legislative independence is a discourse for another day because for me, the 10th Assembly looks like the most dependent legislative forum. Because it appears that whatever the executive wants is what they get. But that's not the discourse for today. But generally speaking, I think state police, in my opinion, is one of the most consequential constitutional reform Nigeria has considered since the 1999 Constitution. This is very critical. However, the issue is not whether the people want state policing or policing. The issue is how well the administration of this reform will be carried out. Because what we've seen going forward, if you consider the way police is structured, whether global or regional, we see over centralized police system. It is whether it's administrative or operational, it's over centralized. And so when there are local issues, you have a lot of problems trying to manage the security challenges at the center, because the local presence of policing or police officers will want to take instruction from the headquarters. So when powers or authority is over centralized, there's no time for the person at the local to make a quick decision. And security is all about proactiveness, not reactiveness.
Are you concerned about the speed at which this bill is
Yes,
moving?
I am. Yes, I am.
Why are you
I
concerned?
am concerned, but not surprised, because that has always been is whatever the president wants that this legislature or legislative individuals will carry out.
So Parliament has not done enough scrutiny.
No, I don't think they did, and I can tell you that maybe well over 95% of them did not even read what they were sent before they assented. All they would do is, this is what the president wants, and that's it. you know. And that's not what we elected them to do. We elected them to be the governance structure watchdog for the executive, you know. And right now it's like the executive, whatever they say, they are the winner takes it all, you know. And it's not good for the democracy. It's not, you know. That's not how democracy
What
works.
would be your concern when it comes to state police? What are your concerns?
Okay, so my concern is the main actors, which is the governors, hijacking the authority, the line of authority, and weaponizing it for their political gains. And unfortunately, I thought about it this morning, Uche, when I was coming for your show. Unfortunately, they are not even circumspect of the fact that their tenure is short-termed. It's like some of them that have weaponized these local vigilante and security groups, giving them guns and all that. When they are leaving, they are not able to take the guns away from them. And remember that they use their security vote recklessly. So they will give them all the money they wanted while they are in office. But when they are not, these guys have raised certain standard of life and living and reckless spending. When they don't have that kind of money, again, flowing from government, they will then move into the local society that is within them and turn themselves into armed robbers and banditries and all that. That's exactly what they happen. They produce this monster, but they don't have what it takes to control them.
Monster.
Yeah, they are.
Well, for a lot of governors who have struggled to pay salaries, you can now imagine how they will be able to sustain funds, even though they say, states will be able to do that. A lot of the governors are saying, don't worry.
Yeah, they will say don't worry, just like they say don't worry about palliative for the poor, and they cut it and put it into their own pockets, and of course put it into their political structure building and all that. So the truth be told, the bedrock of this is to decentralize the policing structure, authority, and administration, so that the locals can take care of their problems locally, because you are in Abuja, but the banditries are not in Abuja. But they are more in the locality, And because the governors don't have the authority, they give instruction to the Commissioner of Police. The Commissioner of Police counters it, say, my Oga have not called me to confirm. You understand? So we need to also begin to deal, because the issue is not decentralization. The issue is constitutional safeguard and measure that would give legal impetus to all the structure that they are trying to build. Do we have all that in the Constitution? Has the constitutional amendment taken care of all of that? There are still some lacunas, like they will say in political parlance, to sort out in order for whatever they do, bill or no bill, if it doesn't have a constitutional backing, somebody will wake up, challenge it in court, and throw it out.
Okay. So beyond creating state police, what deeper reforms should government pursue if it genuinely wants to improve security?
I think within the confines of the policing laws structure that they have created, it's important to begin to think of proper, tangible, result-oriented implementation. Because that's where the rubber meets the road. You can have all the beautiful laws and policies. Do you have the mechanism to implement those things? Have you tested the need assessment of the people that you're making this law for and that you're making the policies for? You take, for instance, I did advocate strongly for magnifying glasses for persons with albinism in the electoral process. For years, it's been over 3, 4, 5 years. INEC have not been able to fully implement that. Not because they don't want to, but because they lack the resources to acquire those magnifying glasses. Times have changed, okay? can we shift from magnifying glasses to what is readily available? Print, large print ballot boxes specifically for this group. We know how many of them that are in the electoral process, in the database of INEC. Can we print something so that we can distribute scientifically to the polling units where they are located? Because that's what we've done with INEC. You know, Uche, people don't know it. INEC remains the most inclusive organization. I'm their worst critics, but when I know what is true, I don't embellish it just because I want to be politically correct. You know.
Are you still pushing for that so that for
Oh, yeah.
2027 election
Oh,
that can be achieved?
I am, and I'm telling you, for some reason, and I give glory to God. Most of this current INEC chairman has a listening ear. You know, and so we are looking at it to see what we can do, you know, and all that, but not deviating or red herring. The issue of state police, we need to think now of a workable, inclusive implementation guideline for the state police, you know, and it has to be inclusive from day one, inclusive of women, youth, persons with disability, and other vulnerable groups, because we are the worst affected when there is a state of insecurity. Yeah. So if you ask me, implementation guideline, implementation guideline, implementation guideline.
Right.
And we can talk about what those like guidelines will look like.
Okay, you want to talk about
Yeah, well, anyway.
a little bit.
Yeah, just a bit of it.
Okay.
One, we need to begin to put, first and foremost, advocacy and awareness. How many people know that there is even issue around state policing? What is state policing? How can the locals and those at the urban area, how can we benefit from it? We need to bring to the fore the benefit of this state policing, not just discussing it from the fact that it's what is trending, you know, but what is the benefit of all of this to the society? How will it improve the security architecture? You know, what is the operational measure? How many police do we have that will be decentralized to meet the needs of this local security that we want to ensure we safeguard? These are issues, you know, and that's where the media comes in. Town hall meetings are essential. You know, this is when they need to engage, you know, from hamlet to hamlet, from village to village. Everybody needs to be aware. I think also the use of traditional institution is very important, because now we are decentralizing security apparatus to the grassroots. You need to engage the traditional rulers. They've been doing it, and some of them are doing it better than us. We have neglected them for too long. We need to recognize the role of traditional institutions. You see those tank criers. You see those people safeguarding and guarding all our traditional rulers. If not for these modern days of kidnapping, how many times have you heard that they kidnap traditional rulers? You know, yeah. But of course, right now it's happening anyway. But
all right, you talked about town hall. We hope when we invite you, you have time to join our town hall meeting.
when are you doing it,
We'll
Uche?
let you know.
Okay. All right. I mean, let's do it, Uche. Let's do town hall
Absolutely.
meetings, and I'll be there. Let's talk about women inclusion. Let's talk about youth inclusion. And inclusion should be discussed at every strata of governance, not just election or palliative. You know, let's move from the era of palliative and tokenism to right-based approach of getting things done. I don't want to be given an opportunity because I have albinism. I'm proud that I'm a person with albinism, humbly speaking. But I don't want you to. Yeah.
There's no humility in that.
Uche, there is. I'm humble about it, but I'm grateful, and I'm saying it because there are people that probably are dissatisfied with what God has given to them. I'm not, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. But however, the point is, Don't give me opportunity. You didn't invite me because I have albinism. You invited me because you feel that I have something in my brain
Absolutely.
that will contribute
Absolutely.
to enriching your conversation.
Yes.
So people shouldn't be given an opportunity based on their outward expressions, but on the content of their character and the capacity of their brain. The
Okay.
competence of an individual is what we should look at.
You're just so right. So we're talking so much energy in the state police. Are we dealing with the fundamental issues that are causing, are requiring us to look into state police again? For instance, unemployment is so huge. Even if you have police, local police, and all of that, and those issues are not sorted, we still will have issues.
Well, maybe they should move you from getting more involved in analyzing issues than presenting. Yeah, that's a smart perspective. You understand, and that's what happens to all of us when we pick up an issue. Is discussed peripherally. The surface is treated. It's like, I'll give you an example. When you see a crack on a wall, and you fix it, and you come back 2 days after and the crack surfaces again, you fix it, you come back again. The problem is not the wall, the problem is foundation. When you don't treat the foundation, you will continue to see the crack on the wall. And that's how we do things in our country. I love this country. Things are going to get better. I am very optimistic. However, we need to begin to deal with fundamental, foundational issue. I'm a Christian. I love Bible principles. If the foundation be destroyed, what shall the righteous do? Foundational issues, So let's stop treating symptoms. Everybody is talking about state police. Even the people proposing it does not actually know the meaning, neither do they think of the implication. What is the 30 years plan for state policing in Nigeria? We don't have it. When you don't have a vision for what you're doing, you will run into problem, because visions are not treated as ambition or you know how we used to say it when you were younger than you, older than you. They say tumbom boys calaba. Random sampling. It doesn't work that way. You understand? So you raise a very vital issue. Can we begin to look at the substance? Can we begin to, how many of what we are putting in place has a sustainability, research sustainability parameter? How do we sustain this? So it's not just starting a thing, it's being able to sustain it.
I've been speaking with Jake Epelle, founder and chief executive officer of TAF Africa. Well, we'll invite you again. I know you missed your way coming here, so that's why the news comes up in a few minutes. So we just have to leave the conversation at this.
Please continue this, and I want to also encourage other media houses to ramp up, scale up this conversation. Let's put pressure on them and hold them accountable.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And that's our show today. Join us tomorrow. We'll be back with another topical conversation on the Civic Forum. My name is Uche Nogo. Have a great day.